Ambazonia Defense Forces, the vanguards of the Ambazonia War of Independence.
My fellow Ambalanders, let me adjust everything I have. All right, my fellow people, I said I was going to address you today. We have been experiencing a lot of attacks on our civilian population in Bamenda this day. We are getting reports of over 5 Ambazonian civilians killed by very angry Cameroon forces. We are also getting report of many bike riders having been arrested We are also getting report of many bikes having been destroyed. There are ghost towns in certain areas in Bamenda, especially City Chemist Roundabout and T Junction. Today I asked the head of the Human Rights and Humanitarian Services, Comrade Akoson, to issue an urgent alert to the international system to make them aware of the possibility of widespread violence on our civilian population. So while our people are taking action against the occupation, we have an obligation to ensure that we use our presence out here to notify different institutions and partners of what is going on in our homeland, especially actions by the enemy that threatens the lives of our civilian population. And so we are monitoring the situation, and we will be documenting what is going on, and we will report that to the Ambazonian people. And where action is needed, we will bring that to the attention of those concerned. I know we are all very skeptical about the readiness of the international community to move against Cameroon, and for good reasons. We've also just been notified today about a visit by a member of the, I think, UN Human Rights Council, invited to Yaoundé to discuss issues of human rights. And we are aware that Ambazonia was also discussed. I have reacted to the report that was issued today, and I would like to repeat my reaction here. There is an ongoing genocide in Ambazonia. There are crimes against humanity that have been well documented. There are crimes of war. There are crimes of aggression. All of these crimes are well documented. There have been dozens of incidences of systematic killing of civilians, which have been described as massacres. We are aware of the Balinyonga massacre, the Pinyin massacre, the Ngabu massacre. All of these crimes are well documented, and this should have gotten the international community to act, or at least the prosecutor of the ICC has powers, I think, under Article 15 of the statute of the ICC. Once these crimes are brought to his attention, to do further investigation and to ascertain if the statutes have been violated by a member state or a non-member state. They have all failed to take their responsibility in the face of gross violations of international humanitarian law. And it baffles me why a UN official dealing with international human rights law should be concerned at this particular moment with what is going on. And I think we are aware that Cameroon is a very dodgy state. We are aware that each time Cameroon feels it is under the spotlight, it creates these distractions by inviting international organizations or members of the international community. We've seen that with Commonwealth, Francophonie, African Union, other UN and African Union agencies, including the European Union. It does this to show its good faith in adhering to its obligations under international human rights and international humanitarian law. This is a classic strategy of the criminal presenting itself into a chamber. And they have always engaged in discussions showing their willingness to hold those accountable, hold those responsible accountable. They have always manipulated the international system by being willing to respect, obligations to which they are supposed to respect. And we've documented this in history. These are classic authoritarian systems that decide to sign treaties, but with the desire never to respect the premise of those treaties. And Cameroon is a classic example of an authoritarian state that has engaged in systematic torture, a massive violation of human rights, but has always presented itself for international scrutiny. And this is what has happened in the past few years. So we dismiss all of these charade that are continuously being played by Cameroon with the support of the international system. War crimes have been committed by Cameroon. Crimes against humanity have been committed by Cameroon. Crimes that meet the minimum threshold of crimes that should be looked into by the ICC. And even though Cameroon is not a signatory, they have referral clauses either by the UN Security Council, member state, or even powers by the prosecutor himself. They have failed woefully to invoke these powers to look into the crimes that Cameroon has committed. And Cameroon has believed very strongly that its past strategies, supported by France, supported by other UN member states, is going to get it off the hook. So what has happened in the past few days has been the continuation of the strategy of distraction that Cameroon continuously engage in, with the hope that the international community is simply going to see its goodwill as enough reason to leave them alone. But we have seen today continuous actions by Cameroon against our civilian population, systematic torture, destruction of properties, deliberate attack on civilian population, destruction of properties of civilian population. These are war crimes. Mass incarceration, subjecting Ambazonians to situations that violate their human dignity, deliberate impunity in the way that our prisoners are treated. These are crimes against humanity. Burning of villages, burning of homes. These are war crimes. And so we are baffled, simply bewildered, why the international system continues to allow Cameroon to escape accountability. And that's why I think in 2002, the former UN Secretary General instituted the protection of civilians in times of conflict. And it was touted as an instrument that would ensure that a repeat of Rwanda never happens. That's why we have the R2P that was also instituted post-Rwanda to ensure that early warning systems are in place to alert the international system on possible crimes of genocide or even crimes against humanity and war crimes that may be the foundation of a crime of genocide. None of these instruments have been invoked. Other methods that sometimes have been used to reduce the, kind of tension that may lead to crimes being committed, Cameroon has never shown interest. Those are sometimes bilateral discussions between conflict parties to resolve conflict issues or to mitigate the effect of conflict issues. Cameroon has not been interested. Holistic solutions like negotiations that should continuously build good faith between conflict parties as to lay the foundation for resolving the conflict, Cameroon has not been interested. Cameroon has been interested in violence in a systematic manner as a matter of policy. Cameroon has been interested in propaganda as a tool of defeating enemies. It has been interested in bribery and corruption as a tool of getting enemies to surrender. And it has been interested in probing and coercing, even threatening and blackmailing members of the international community as a tool of keeping them away from what it deems as its exclusive preserve to deal with. This is a conflict that has led to massive humanitarian crisis that has been well documented by the Norwegian Refugee Council and other reputable international organizations. It is a conflict that has led to mass movement of people across international borders that has affected security and internal dynamics of other countries. And that is also shown by the TPS that is instituted by the United States to make sure Ambazonians can receive temporal protection. So there are all signs to show that this conflict has gone beyond the remit of Cameroon, not only because it has been incapable, but because it has been unwilling to deal with the conflict. It's not a conflict that is 7 years old. It's a conflict that has been going on for more than 60 years. And there have been different episodes, different stages, different periods of escalation that has led to massive violation of human rights. No one has ever been held accountable. Every day, Ambazonians are treated almost like a conquered people. They are treated with impunity and disdain. And all the signs of genocide are there. We have listened to the audios that are emanating from Bamenda. You listen to the language. You listen to the disgust because of 2 to 3 enemy forces that are killed. Now, just imagine you are going to wipe out 50 Cameroon forces. What will be the reaction of these people? They are even calling Ambazonians who are traitors working with them. They are calling them traitors. They are calling them collaborators. These are all signs that should tell the international community that this is a powdered cake that is waiting to explode and engulf an entire region. And so, my fellow people, we are dealing with peoples and a system that first has not recognized our humanity. And that is why Cameroon has never been interested in any solutions. Because for Cameroon, a solution would mean recognizing that Ambazonians are first humans. When they talk of human rights, it is because of the respect of the fact that we are humans. If you refuse to respect the humanity of people, then you cannot ascribe to those people any rights. The denial by Cameroon of the fact that we are equal human beings with the agencies to enjoy all the rights like all other humans has been a problem. That is why any little crisis has been treated as existential to Cameroon. Every little protest has been treated with utmost brutality. Teachers are kidnapped, tortured, dumped into jail. Lawyers are treated with scorn and disdain, dumped into jail. Civilians are picked up and chained in jail and they die in their bed. Not a word. Because they know they are dealing with animals. They know they are dealing with sugar that can be dissolved. They know they are dealing with le biafran. They know they are dealing with les anglo. They know they are dealing with noso. We have been described with using all forms of derogatory adjectives. Denied the right to even be described as a people with rights. They see us as agents with obligations, facilitators of their expansionist strategy to take over our country, turn us into their slaves, and to make sure that any resistance to that is dealt with utmost brutality. And this has been the reason why most Ambazonians think giving up will quiet the enemy. That is the reason why for the past 60 years, most leaders, our citizens, have been cowed to the point where their survival has been the utmost reason why surrender has been what is necessary. Because Cameroon has not blinked on any issue, education, law, civil society issues. It has not blinked. Everything that we have done, asking even for trash in our city to be removed by companies within Ambazonia. I explain these things not to lecture you on what you already know. I explain these things for you to understand of the enormity of the task that is in our hands to solve. And why the shortcuts that we have taught would please Cameroon to regard us as subservient enough to deserve some of our own God-given rights has not worked. No matter how you sing their anthem, worship their flag, march on the 11th of February, on the 20th of May, Cameroon has never been pleased. Anytime there has been political agitation, whether on the Ambazonian issue, demanding even discussions on how to resolve the issue of coexistence, Cameroon has not been willing. And leaders, individuals have thought, all right, let's succumb. Some have succumbed. What happened? What happened to their own dignity? We saw how John Frundi was treated. We saw how Karina Tumi was treated. Not even those who have betrayed us have been treated with respect. The international community has continued to play to the drum beats of Yaoundé. And if we give up, if we decide to take the shortcut, the next generation will inherit a problem we could have stood firm to resolve. Every time our people are killed, rather than blame the enemy that occupied our land and is burning our villages, some of you rise up to blame those who have stood firm, as if those who gave up before brought any reward. Every time we have suffered death in the hands of the enemy, our soldiers have fallen. Instead of coming together, mobilizing, and making sure those who are still fighting have the necessary resources to fight, we start screaming on social media. We start attacking each other. Some even go on their knees, begging a state that abrogated a federalism that it imposed to give them federalism, as though the provinces or the regions or the special status that the state has given, it has even respected the premise of those arrangements. Why do I say all of these things? What happened yesterday is a testament of the resilience of our people. You see only a microcosm of the sacrifices that our people make. 2 days ago, I was 3 days or 4 days ago, we lost a soldier. Self-inflicted injuries He took his rifle, and in manipulating the rifle, he shot his leg and punctured an artery and bled to death. The soldier was buried yesterday morning. I was sitting and trying to preside over the burial. In the evening, I had a meeting with the finance department. As we were in the meeting, information started streaming in about gunshots in Bamenda. And I stepped out of the meeting without even telling the people of the Department of Finance that I'm stepping out. Because I was worried. I thought maybe our forces have been ambushed or attacked. And I immediately reached out to all the commanders. And I was informed they had successfully taken out enemy patrol at the heart of Commercial Avenue. They buried the soldier in the morning, and in the evening, they were out. What do you define as bravery? What do you term resilience? It is not 3 weeks that they lost 5 men. That is the kind of attitude that if the Funchas had, we will not be here today. That's the kind of attitude if the John Frundis, those who blinked in the face of Cameroon's manipulation threats, if they had an iota of that, we will not be here today. And if we will not be in the same position in the future, all of us must adopt the no blinking, no compromise, no retreat attitude. And look at shortcomings as a way of making us look at our shortfalls and to build up our capacity. My people, we are brave. No people subjected to this level of impunity and banality of evil have been able to resist this law on their own. The South Africans had all the support they could muster across the globe. States, primary school students, and you were one of them. We have been on our own. And if in 2024, with all those who are fallen, the pain we are going through, we are still able to constitute this level of resistance and to get the enemy to panic and to go on a tirade. Just imagine we are able to make 10% investment. We will not only free ourselves, we will free Cameroonians from the clutches of the tyranny of the BR regime. And so today, I ask you never to look back. And if you look forward, invest in Ambazonia. That is the most reliable investment you will ever make in your life. As I said in my audio yesterday, the house you live in may be owned by your neighbors, even by your enemies. The cars you drive might never be in existence. Where your grandparents are buried, you have no idea. You don't possibly even remember their faces. Where your great-grand-aunties lived, you have no idea. That is how we may all disappear without trace. The only trace we will leave, as the Americans always talk about the founding fathers, the foundation of American independence, are the documents their forebears left, the values embedded in those documents, those who stood valiantly to defend the ideals of freedom. None of us will ever know where Patrice Lumumba lives. We watched the other day the house of Nkrumah Nkrumah, derelict form, but his name is immortal. His work unchallenged. I ask you tonight, all of you, to commit to thank the Bamenda Brigade, all the missions of the Ambazonian Governing Council, all Ambazonians who today feel proud that they have been uplifted by the daring of our forces. Make sure you replenish them generously. They will be proud that those 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 miles away, we stand with them in their period of glory, as we have always stood with them when they mourn. Our homeland is the only place we have. We shall not surrender it to an enemy that has no respect for us, that has never explored and exploited our resources and reciprocated with any development, even in hospitals or schools. An enemy that kidnaps our compatriots, ship them to its capital, and put them in situations of squalor. This is not the enemy to make any compromise with. They are too weak. If we step up our game, we'll be on time with our rendezvous with freedom. God bless you all.
Hail, hail, hail this land of glory, with the Ambazonians pledge our loyalty. Praise the Son, our Savior, who granted us our freedom, allegiance to the heroes who bought the land with their blood. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here is our nation, flowing with milk and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation and joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above, because my God been the watchman of his nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs. And your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of his nation.
Welcome to ACN.